Welcome back to my channel. This is Sticks plus Twine. My name is Eric, and today is just a quick and cozy update. Let's get started. First, let me say it is amazing how many of you have commented and reacted and have newly subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. It also makes me really quite aware that it's been a while since I did any kind of introduction, so let's do a little bit of that. And then I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time today just talking about how the fall finish along has been going for me. Show you a few of my finished objects and sort of just check in, and see how you're doing. I'm seeing a lot of activity on Instagram, which I'm loving. Seeing everybody's inspired to finish off some stuff. I told you we were going to finish some stuff, y'all. So let's get started with that. And then I think maybe we'll talk a little bit about some future/dream knitting. There's some new patterns that came out that I'm really excited about that I'd love to share. So first of all, let me start with some introductions. For those of you who are new, my name is Eric. I live here in Toronto. This is my knitting studio/home office. And it's a little bit later at night than I normally record tonight. I just felt like, let's do a little bit of ambiance. Let's do a little cozy. We got candles going. I had a cup of tea, but I finished it. It was here on the table next to me, but I finished it. This is where I sit and knit and work and write. I'm writing some new stuff, which is kind of cool. I am in my, let's just say, mid to late 40s. Let's see, where to start. I have a marketing company that I own, that through COVID we've kind of been a little bit on hiatus, which is, not great, but, whatever, we roll with it. I also own a small clothing company, and most recently I became certified as a personal trainer. I lived in Mexico over the course of the winter and used my time there to do that. Rather than just sit on the beach all day, I actually did study and got my personal training certifications. And I just got hired as a personal trainer here in Toronto. So we've done that. Anybody who has followed or has gone back to my very first videos will know that I've kind of changed my physical appearance quite a bit. I've lost now almost 70 pounds through a variety of techniques. I go into really a lot more in depth on a podcast that I spoke about a while ago that my trainer actually interviewed me on. It's called Be Less Dumb, if you want to check that out. I think it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to check that out, just do a search for Be Less Dumb and it'll pop up there. If you're curious and that's something you want to know about. Let's see, what else can I tell you about myself? Well, I'm most active on Instagram. I do love the gram. I love, and I'm not going to say I hate it, but there are times when I get frustrated by it. But what frustrates me most about Instagram is when I see my friends getting bullied or upset from people that just think that it's really cool to denigrate or make negative comments about people or the way that they've decorated their house or the way that they choose to, say something about their kids or, that's kind of frustrating for me. But my advice to most of my friends is, just do you. If Instagram is an extension of you, an extension of your home, what other people think of you is really none of your business. So just do you. And that's my advice to all of you is just remember Instagram is a pretty picture. It's a funny little story. It's a cute little video. It has its purposes, but it's not fully real life. Let's just all be really clear about that. So anyway, that's where I am. By now you will have seen my handle is down here at the bottom of the screen. And let's see what else. Ravelry I use, but I'm using it more and more just for project management. I don't really use it for, forums, or discussion, that sort of thing. The odd time, sure. But that's more what I use it for, just to keep myself organized. Speaking of organization, I am an organizing freak. I tend to be a little more I won't say OCD because I feel like that has some really negative connotations to it, and I don't want to make fun or poke or make light of somebody who actually has that affliction. But let's just say I am most comfortable when things are really highly organized and tidy. And, I've lived in this home now since April of this year, and it's the first time, I would say, in probably almost 20 years that I've had a place that I feel really perfectly is an extension of me and what I like. And part of that is being really, really organized. So if this is your first time joining, if you go back to the previous episode, actually 2 episodes ago, you will see a little bit of a home tour. I didn't go into all the organizing stuff, my pantry tour, my laundry room, stuff like that. But I could if you really want to, but I feel like there are better people more equipped and capable of sort of talking about that than I am. Anyway, so that's a bit about me. If you've got any questions, I won't say I'm an open book. There are things about my life that I do keep private, and I will always keep private. But, within reason, if you're, curious about things, sure, I'm more than happy to at least answer, or at least tell you that that's something that I just choose to keep private. Rule of thumb on that, I think, is if it's a question that you wouldn't want to answer yourself from, someone that you don't know, probably not appropriate to ask. Simple. Anyway, that's it about me. Why don't we start talking a little bit about how we're doing with the finish along, and I can show you some of my finished objects. Okay, first, let's start with this sweater that I'm wearing. This is the Phallic Pullover by Emily Green. And I've realized that I actually finished this in April, but I haven't blocked it yet. I was like, why does it feel a bit like, it's in Shelter. This is Iceberg is the colorway from Brooklyn Tweed. It feels a bit crunchy. And I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't blocked it yet. That'd be why. I'm wearing it today because it's, this is a quick and cozy update, but I'm boiling. It's really warm. Very warm in here with it. So, that's great for, fall and winter. It is not quite fall yet. Fall, I think, is a week away still, or at least a couple of days. But I just thought I would share this one. This is not qualification for the finish along because, well, I'm hosting it. So, little sidebar on that. We're doing a finish along, y'all. It started September 1st, going through to the end of October. And it's basically any whips you got on your needles, finish them. Finish. In the last episode, I went through sort of a technique that I've used to structure how I'm going about doing all of them. And trust me, I've got a lot more on the organized knitting front to come, so stay tuned on that. But anyway, that's what we're doing. We've got some great prizes. I picked up one from Sandy by the Lakeside this week, and I'm super excited for it. I'm going to wait until I have all of them in-house, and then I will sort of do a little show and tell. Another one is getting prepared, I believe, this week. So that's exciting. I don't know, I'm kind of chuffed about the whole thing. Word to the wise, I do have another cowl planned for the start of November, and I'll talk about that a little bit, or at least you might get a hint of it when we talk about some future knitting in our next segment. But for now, let's talk about finished objects. Okay, y'all, we're back. I am sorry, I was so warm, I just had to take the pullover off. It'll be great for walking down by the lake when it's chilly. I live next to Lake Ontario, so it's going to be real chilly, I think, going for strolls this winter and this autumn. But for now, feels like it's still t-shirt weather, so we're just going to stick with that. Let's start with, in order, those of you who watched in my last episode and will have seen my spreadsheet that I'm using to track my whips that I want to get done during this finish along, will know that I have my Moonwake cowl is now finished. It's off the needles. It has been blocked. It has been grafted together, which I'm going to talk about that for a second, y'all. Grafting a tube. This is a colorwork pattern by Andrea Mowry. The colors tonight are going to be a little off because it's cozy time. So just go with it. There will be pictures on Instagram and on Ravelry if you want to see something that's a little more true to life. So we'll go with that, okay? But for now, This is a kit that I purchased from Yak when the pattern was launched. It was a collaboration between Andrea Mowry and Yak. I've never used yak as a wool material before, or technically it's not wool, as a fiber. So it was kind of interesting. I wasn't sure what to expect. It's really soft. I really like it. It is grafted into a Mobius shape, so there is a twist in it. It's not a true Mobius cowl because it's not knit as a Mobius. It's knit as a tube that's then twisted and grafted. But it fits really nicely. It's very soft. I love the colors. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of retro. I had a friend of mine mention today that it looked very 80s in the colors, and I thought, you know what? I think he's right. But I'm really, really, really glad that this one's done. So the way that I organized a lot of my whips was going from sort of technique-driven to something straightforward and plain. So this one was definitely technique because it's color work, and I'm still practicing two-handed color work. I'm not great. I'm an English knitter. I'm a thrower. So to have yarn in both hands for me is still a bit tricky, but I got much better at it through working on something like this. So I recommend the pattern for that. If you are not comfortable with Kitchener stitch on a tube, I would not necessarily recommend this pattern unless you want to challenge yourself and figure that out. It was definitely a challenge for me, and I figured it out. The funny thing is, like, you do start with a provisional cast on, you do the whole tube, you block the whole thing, weave in your ends, and then you graft the whole thing. Somehow I ended up with not enough stitches on one needle, so I just at some point just knew I was 3 stitches off. Nothing fell off the needle. I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter. But I just made sure that I, would just, as I was grafting, I would treat 2 stitches on the one side as 1 stitch. So it all worked out in the end. So that's cool. That is done, finished, whip number 1. So that's going on the floor. Whip number 2, I'm embarrassed to say, has been on for a very, very long time. And this was actually a test knit from Max the Knitter for his Vicious Circle cowl. And it is a slip stitch pattern that has 2 color on one side and 1 color on the other side. This is Brooklyn Tweed Arbor in, I believe, Humpback. And this side with the gold is Favorite Leather Boots from Chelsea Luxe Yarns. And I love the gray and the yellow together. It's actually more of a gold, so it's gold and silver, more or less. All I really had to do was pick up the edging around it to put the rib on both sides. But there was an awful lot of stitches to pick up. But it's done. It's only like, I swear to God, it's like 5 rounds, pickup round, 5 rounds of ribbing, bound off on both sides. And I had spent way too long procrastinating and not getting it done. But it's long, but it's meant to be twisted. I can't see myself really in the little view screen of my camera here, but that's sort of the gist of it. It's really nice. It's bulky without being suffocating. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels substantial, and it's going to be nice. My winter coat this year, I just had to buy a new one because nothing else fit, and it is it's like a gray wool pea coat. So everything that I'm making will go with it, and everything goes with gray. Almost everything goes with black, with some exceptions, I think. But black's a severe color. I find the gray is really nice and moderating for other color tones to work really well with. So anyway, that's whip number 2 complete. Third one. Yes, there is a third. So I went from the complex of the color work for the Moonwake cowl, then the simple, absurdly simple, of just picking up stitches and doing some ribbing, to a brioche hat, which I cast this on not that long ago, but I really, really, really felt the need for some brioche. This is Julie Asselin Nomad is the green. I forget what the color is. It's in my Ravelry project page. And the cream is Brooklyn Tweed. Puri in, again, I don't remember the color name. It's in the pattern page. But I really, really like this hat. I was just in the mood for something brioche, something squishy, something not super slouchy. The pattern sort of basically says, do this till this point, then do that, then do it as long as you want, and then just, wrap it up. This is as much as I wanted. I don't like a super slouchy hat. For me, it just doesn't suit me very well. But this sort of length for me was perfect. It has been blocked. The funny thing is, I'd forgotten how long brioche takes to dry. It took like almost 2 days. And I did I use a salad spinner after it soaks to get most of the water out. I did the towel, stomping on the towel, folded and rolled up. Did all of that. It still took almost 2 days to dry. It's great though. Lately I've been using Tuft Woolen's apple cider wool wash. Their hard soap one, the wool soap. So everything smells like Rhinebeck, which I'm kind of cool with. So anyway, that's 3. And in fact, I'm so close to number 4 because now I so desperately wanted to do cables. But my wonderful friend Ramona reminded me that I had a schedule and I should stick to it, and that was to finish sleeves. Yes, I've been on Sleeve Island for quite a while. This is the first Raglan sweater by Jared Flood. I can't find this is the front. I was part of the preview knit for the release for Tones, of which this is a pattern, but this is not in Tones. This is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in Storm Cloud. I have a completed sleeve. 1 sleeve, done. I swear, it's done. This other one, I'm so close to finishing. I think I've got probably, and maybe another evening or 2, and it will be done. I am using Stephanie Pearl McPhee's trick for counting her the decreases of using the traveling stitch marker. If you haven't seen this, I don't know if she talks about it anywhere but on her Patreon. But her Patreon is fantastic. I've talked about it before. If you're new here, go get it. It is worth every penny. Oh, high traffic noise. I live next to a highway too, so sorry if there's a motorcycle going by and you can hear it. I apologize. I've also just realized, again, I forgot to put the microphone on, so I don't know what the sound is going to sound like. I'll do my best. I'm sorry. I'm not recording this again. This is a quick and cozy update. This is not a, fancy schmancy one. Anyway, so I'm going to try and finish this tonight or tomorrow. I do have another probably 6 that I want to try and finish before the end of October. A lot of them are pretty big projects, though, in comparison. I have 1 or 2 hats in the mix, which those are easy. I can get those done pretty quick. I do have a full Weekender Light, both sleeves to do, which is going to take a while. I have another fingering weight sweater that wants a floral sweater to finish the sleeves on that. And I've got the Leaves of Grass shawl. God, I'm depressing myself. Let's not get depressed. Let's just think 1 whip at a time, right? 1 whip at a time. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to keep focusing on this. I have a small confession to make. I did cast on a new project. I'm not going to talk about it yet because it's part of a cowl that's starting actually on Sunday. I guess I can talk about it. It's the Class and Triangles shawl. It's all from Clinton Hill cashmere, and it's gorgeous. Oh my god, I love it. I love the yarn. I've gone through the first ball already. I would have been done the sleeve if I hadn't done that. But I really, really enjoyed working on it. I cast it on because it was the first time I had seen my wonderful friend Sandy in a year and a half. And we spent the afternoon together, and it felt right. We're doing this sort of for our birthdays. Our birthdays are only like a week apart. So I cast that on. I put it away for now. I feel like it's going to be a little reward. Once I get through maybe 2 more whips, then that's going to be my reward, is I get to do another ball's worth of cashmere, because y'all, there's nothing like knitting with cashmere. It's really yummy. But I'm not going to show it. That'll be my compromise. I'm just not going to show it. So that's it for works in progress we're going to talk about. Let's take a quick break, and then let's talk about some future knitting that I'm super excited about. Okay, friends, let's talk a little bit about what I am obsessing over, which is new dream sweater knitting. I have seen a couple of patterns that have been out recently, 2 of which are just brand new from the new Brooklyn Tweed Schools In collection that just released yesterday, and I am already obsessed. The first one I want to talk about actually is a new pattern from Hudson and West called Sabin. It's inspired by the sweater that Ransom wears in the movie Knives Out, and it's gorgeous. It's cables. I think I'm going to do it in cream. It looks stunning. It's by Megan Babin, who is, I believe, one of the partners at Hudson and West. And they're launching their autumn-winter collection on the 29th of September. So they have a men's version and a women's version, so it's sort of a unisex pattern. But I think there's probably some, work that they've done to make that happen. I'll obviously see when I get the pattern what it entails, but it looks amazing. I am also obsessing over the VC pullover by Paula Pereira for Brooklyn Tweed. What I wasn't sure about when I saw the original pattern, it's a crop top, very deep V-neck. I wasn't sure if there was going to be direction, or, I know I could always lengthen it, it's not a big deal, but I didn't know if that was going to be part of the pattern. Turns out it looks like it is. So I'm really excited about that too. It just looks really cool. I've been wanting something like that in my wardrobe. I would love a V-neck. Almost everything has like a crew neck that I've been making. So having something that's just a little bit of a V would be really, really nice. And lastly, I'm so obsessed with this. It is a sweater called the Saddler and I am so sorry if I don't pronounce this correctly, but I believe it's Aiste Butkevashin for Brooklyn Tweed, same Schools In collection. I've never done a saddle shoulder construction, and I'm really excited to try it. And it has this really cool crochet chain detail down the arm and also under the arm down the side. It looks really, really cool. I have the yarn in stash. I had a different pullover I was going to make out of this particular yarn that I had acquired for it. But I just feel like, and that one it's the Fort pullover, which I still really love, but it's a lot of moss stitch, y'all. Like, the entire sweater is moss stitch. Whereas, like, the Felling pullover is entirely 1x1 rib, and I kind of had enough of that. I don't mind purling back a row, but I don't know if I want to do a whole sweater in 1x1 or even 2x1 at this point. I don't think I'm in for it. Anyway, that's a lot of ums. I'm sorry. But the Saddler, I'm kind of obsessed with. I kind of want to do it in Artifact, which is this beautiful, deep, like murky green. Like, oh, it's just gorgeous. And I actually want to do the stripes on the side. Instead of alternating or having multiple colors, I just want to do it in the same color as the Felling pullover. I have 2 skeins left over from that original one. So that sweater is going to be entirely out of stash, which is great. I think the VC, it's a DK weight, so that one will have to be... I don't know that I have enough in my stash in DK to do the whole pullover. I have enough for the accent colors, for sure. That I have. But as sweaters quantity, I don't think so. All that to say, I am obsessing over sweaters, and I kind of want to finish up all of these whips so that I can focus on just doing anything that I can to get my hands on cables. I'm just all about it right now. Anyway, so that's kind of it for today. This one's just sort of an off-the-cuff, spur-of-the-moment, just a quick and cozy sit down and chit chat. Like if you were here, we'd be like hanging out and knitting. Hopefully you've had some knitting to do. I want to get back to finishing this sleeve because it is now not quite 9 o'clock, and I figure I've got another 2 hours of knitting before my eyes start to get a bit. So I want to try and get that done. I might even get that sleeve finished tonight. Anyway, hope you are doing well. Hope you are staying safe. Hope you are having fun with your knitting. Hope you are taking care of yourselves and not stressing out too much over trying to get too much done. That's it for me for now, and we will see you soon.